Hi, Dad. How you doing?
Hey, Darren. I'm well, and understand we're going to capture some history today.
That's right. We're going to be talking. I've got a few questions for you. Excited to dive in, and I'll kick it off with the first one if you're ready.
Okay.
Perfect. So the motto for ELE Wealth Management is "Wealth is our legacy. Pass it on." How'd you come up with that?
Before I started the company, I thought about every aspect of what creates a brand. And every great brand has a slogan. So I wanted to focus on wealth, and not just for myself, but for our people, our community. So I thought about what I'd heard all my life, that wealth was our legacy. And I said, I've heard wealth is our legacy all my life. Let's pass it on. Wealth is our legacy, pass it on. So that's how I came up with it. Now, it wasn't an overnight thing. It wasn't an instantaneous thing. It was over time. But I'd heard that all my life, so I had a chance to use that in a combination that worked for our people, our community.
That's beautiful. So next question. When you think about your first year at ELE, what was your original vision for the company, and has it changed since then?
Well, the original vision for the company is what we're living today. So I foresaw 25 years of where I wanted to go. And I'm now planning the next 25 years. But the first 25 is the vision that we're living in right now. So from year one to here was a part of that vision, realized.
Okay, that's great. And as you think about that long journey, what was the most defining moment for the company and that helped shape what it is today?
I think it was that first client. Yeah, and the first client was Miss DeWar, Teresa DeWar. She gave us one of the biggest checks we still have gotten to this day. And she changed everything because it was a dream, but she turned it into a vision. She made the dream a reality by investing in me. I took the funds that I generated from the commission off of what that sale back then. Commission was a big thing. It wasn't fee-based back then. I took that commission and I paid rent in two cities, in Dallas and in Detroit, which opened the door for me to have 6 months to make money in both places, not worried about rent. So, Mr. War, thank you. She made that difference. That first person who really believed in me. And she really was the first client.
All right, so thanks, Dad. Thanks for talking us through a little bit of history with ELE. When you think about challenges, what has been one of the challenges that taught you the most? What was the challenge and what did you learn?
I had a bank that's no longer in business. Didn't pay us for 8 months. And they, on purpose, tried to put us out of business by not paying us. And they owed me $250,000. And this was in my third year. And just imagine someone owes you $250,000 and you're a small business. They didn't give you an opportunity they basically tried to shut me down.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is that we immediately pivoted and started doing life insurance. And we did life insurance, and it's the first year I did $1 million of commission in life insurance and was #1 at National Life of Vermont. And I was the first African American to be #1. And it taught me to pivot. It's important to be in a position to pivot and having a willingness to pivot and not trying to drive things down someone's throat, but to know that a pivot is okay.
Okay, that's great. Pivoting to the next question, what do you feel like is your proudest achievement of the last 25 years?
I think to see all my children graduate college and have an interest in the business and not to have dreamed the dream, but have no one to continue it. Whether they, I think about the Fords. The Fords have had a Ford at the helm, but they also had someone who wasn't a Ford at the helm that took them through the roughest time. And that might be the case for us. That's back to the pivot. So I think that seeing that all of this was for nothing if my kids don't end up being successful. So pouring back into what I believe to be successful, not just my kids that are just of my loin, but the kids that I help being a part of my life, to see everybody succeed. That's what it was all about. So that's probably the biggest reward, is knowing that I make a difference.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like as one of those kids who benefited, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. In addition to that, so you talked a lot about your journey, and I'd love for you to do your best to sum up this journey in one word. So if you could describe ELE's 25-year journey in one word, what is that word?
Resilient.
And why do you say that?
Because it takes resilience to make it happen. And to be willing to just keep going down the road. No matter what hurdles I had to overcome, to keep running. To never stop running and never give up. And one of those biggest hurdles for a lot of people, I had a stroke. And a health challenge is a major reason why a lot of people go out of business. But I knew that God had more work for me to do. And that health challenge was to slow me down, not to stop me. So that's critical.
Is there any inspiration you would share for those who are hoping to rise to the challenge and maybe haven't done it yet or haven't found their pathway to like rise up and kind of establish that resilience?
I think you have to keep dreaming. Because keep in mind, someone made my dream and turned my dream into a vision. Someone, in other words, don't think you got all the answers, because you don't. God sends angels along the way to provide for you. I've had plenty of people who told me, go that way, do this, do that. And I was open enough to listen to their advice and not think, I'm supposed to know everything, it's my idea. No. This is God's idea. And He's going to send angels to help you if you just accept the help. Accept the help.
That's great. Be open to the help, whether from internal thinking or external. That's great. All right, so I've got a few questions here around personal insights. I'd love to hear, when you think back in the day, what originally inspired you to start ELE?
A lot of my friends that were already successful. And when you're around success, it just makes you want your turn. And the key thing about that is being patient enough to wait for your turn. That was the hardest thing, because my friends were making Olympic teams. My friends were buying sports cars and fancy luxury cars and living in luxury homes. I kept saying, when is my time gonna come? When I'm driving a Pinto, a Vega. Is my time gonna come? A used Volvo. Is my time gonna come? But your time does come. And when it comes strong. So for me, the first half of life was about being patient and supporting others. I supported my Olympic team friends. I supported my friends that bought the luxury cars. But then I hit age 42 and all of a sudden it became my time. And all my friends supported me, and they still do to this day. Supported me, very happy about my success, and I'm happy about their success. So it's having people around you who can help you to be the best that you can be.
That's great. As someone who is inching closer to his 40s, I really appreciate kind of knowing that there may be some positive changes on the near horizon, and that waiting for the right time is such an important part of things.
Yes, and being patient.
And patience, of course. So you've actually spoken around your leadership style a lot. I would love to hear about, has your leadership style changed? And if so, what has been the result of that change over all these years?
I don't think my leadership style has changed. I think I'm a coach at heart. So I think I was a track coach while in college. The coach tapped me and said, Ellis, can you coach the women's track team? So I did that in college because I think coaching is something I naturally do. And I think everybody has to accept the talents that they have and that God gave them, and try and work on enhancing those talents. Don't just assume because God gave you a talent, it's good enough. No, you got to enhance that talent. So I think I still coach. And I think the greatest gift I have is seeing what's inside of other people and helping to nurture that gift that God put inside them to help us as a company to grow. And I do the same for clients who come in the office. They come in, they tell me what they want to do, and I talk them through the idea. I talk them through the process. I've had 5 clients who came in who have $1 million companies they're running now, all because we talk through the process.
That's great. I feel like I'm hearing your experience as a coach, as someone who also does some coaching and kind of works that into what they do. I'd love to hear a bit about who was your biggest mentor or influencer or inspiration? Like, who is that person, if you can pick out just one, who really inspired you? Who are they and what would you say about them?
I'd say the person who made the difference was a guy named Dexter Thomas, because I was great at sales, but I was horrible at marketing. And Dexter taught me how to market. Sales is somebody sitting in front of you with money saying, hey, please put me in a product. But marketing is getting that person to sit in that chair in front of you. I didn't know how to do that. Dexter gave me that gift. And I'm forever indebted. So take him out the picture now. We don't get here. We don't get to 25 years.
Well, thank you, Dexter. Your contributions are appreciated, and here we all are. Okay, I'd love to hear a little bit about habits. So are there any habits that you have that contribute to your success as a CEO? Maybe it's like you go on a walk, maybe you set goals. Like what are the habits that you established that have helped you succeed over these years?
I think it's the thinking and being willing to be a deep thinker. It's the taking the time to go within myself, but I also know my limitations. I know what I'm great at and I know what I'm not great at. And I'm willing to let the world know. I'm transparent. And I think that's the biggest problem a lot of people have is being transparent.
That's great. Transparency. So I'd love to hear a little bit about sacrifices. I feel like, being transparent, you've obviously sacrificed a lot over these 25 years. What have been some of your biggest sacrifices and the tough decisions that you've had to make over that time span?
I think that, when I talk about friends having luxury cars and luxury homes, I think that when the money finally did start coming from me, I applaud myself for having the discipline to be patient and not buy that luxury car too early, not buy that luxury home too early, to where it put a strain on the business. I was very patient. I made sure I had the money in the bank to pay for things before I bought them. In other words, I didn't depend on credit. I wanted to make sure I had the money to pay cash before I bought any of my major purchases. And I think that's a lesson that a lot of small businesses can learn from, is not trying to use leverage, but use cash. Don't try to use leverage, use cash. Everybody tells you, use leverage, get your credit card, get your line of credit. Have the cash in your bank. I know this much, my bank is much happy to see me coming when I have money than I did when I didn't have money. So that makes a huge difference.
That's great. And for my final question, I'd love to just hear, what is the biggest lesson that entrepreneurship has taught you over all these years?
It's taught me that it's about other people. It's about helping your staff. It's about helping the clients. It's not about you. That's the biggest lesson I've learned, that it's not about me.
That's great. Well, I'd love to pass it off to the next interviewer if you're open to it.
Yes.
All right, let's kick it off.
All right.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
My name is Ellis Liddell, daughter of Ellis Liddell. So, Dad,
Yes.
what do the next 25 years look like for the company?
I'm thinking that the next 25 years are a vision of what we've accomplished to help more people, to be more supportive, and to create things that don't exist already. I think that with the coming of AI and other instruments, I think that we're going to have the ability to usher our clients into the future with the tools they need to be successful.
Okay. Going on that AI, AI included in some others, what are some innovations that you're most excited for going forward?
I think if I had to break it down, I'd say it's the fact that more people are financially literate. We're not starting from scratch. We're able to build on it. We have the basement, and now we can just start building a house on top of it. So I like the fact that most people have some way of knowing some financial literacy, and it's available, but people are using it.
Okay.
Everybody realizes we live in a world that's financially driven, which is great.
So, you're used to interviewing, you're giving advice right now. What advice would you give to someone who wants to build a long-lasting company like ELE?
I would say first, patience, and see the business in your head and on paper before you actually start. In other words, everything I'm living now is, I had visions of it early in life, and now we're just realizing those visions, realizing those dreams. So my thing is that spend as much time visualizing what success looks like to you before you actually get involved. And I can't tell you this, once you get involved, you're too busy to visualize. You're too busy doing it to visualize. So the visualization has to start first before success. And this goes back to one of my favorite sayings that I copied from somebody. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Do the work.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice at the start of this journey, what would it be?
Everything's gonna be all right. You're gonna make it. I would tell my younger self, don't worry. You're gonna be successful beyond your own imagination, and just stick to the script and do what you can for the community, and it'll take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you. So finally, after 25 years, what legacy do you hope to leave?
I would love for people to be able to just know that things are better because I came along, because I spent time in this place, that the financial literacy everywhere I touch is better. I guess I would relate it to Johnny Appleseed, who planted apple trees all over the United States. I hope that I'm planting little bits of seeds of wisdom that will just grow into something great. And that will be my contribution to our people, to our community.
Well, thank you, Dad.
Thank you.
All right, so let's delve into the ELE team and clients.
Okay.
What role has the team played in reaching 25 years of success?
Everything. Without the team, there is no success. Because I understand what I'm great at. When I first started the company, the one thing I was not, I'm not, even to this day, is a typist. So I needed an administrative assistant, an executive assistant. I needed someone to help me, even in writing letters to clients. And I remember one of the employees said, "Mr. Liddell, get up, let me do it." I was typing up a letter, and she said, "Mr. Liddell, get up, let me do it." "Miss Gordon, get up, let me do it." So I got up, and she typed the letter, and she could type, 50 words a minute. I'm over here pecking out. So without the team, there's no me.
How would you describe the company culture today compared to when you started?
I think we're more relaxed today than we were then. When we first started, I was pretty much a taskmaster. I mean, everything had to be point on. There was no forgiveness. And I think I'm more considerate of the employees' needs. But I think the times that we live in have changed. So I think that the culture adjusted to the times we live in. So I would have to say that the biggest change is we went from where everyone wore a suit to work and they dressed up to work in 25 years to where companies like Google and Facebook, employees come in with khakis on. So the culture of the workplace has changed, and we've adjusted ourselves with that, but not to the point that Google or Facebook, but we did make some changes.
Okay. What values do you think have kept clients with you for so long?
If we tell a client we're going to do something, we do it. And if a client calls us, they know it's going to get done. It's not a matter of they're going to have to micromanage us. They don't have to micromanage us. We're professionals. And I think the professional environment that I've created, and I think everybody who wants to be in that environment is professional. So I think that's the gift that keeps on giving. And that's the difference that we've made. That's why a small company can service clients better than a large company can. Because if I got 8 million customers and I got 8,000 advisors, there's no way I can get to those advisors. However, if I've got 1,000 clients, 16 advisors, everybody knows people whose family, when somebody graduates, they know marriages, they know everything that happens. Right. Versus transactional. We get to actually know the people on a personal level.
So share a story about a client or employee that still sticks with you after all of these years.
I'd say that I'm gonna go with an employee first. And not just one employee, I have several employees. I remember I hired one lady and she used to always be very nice, pardon me, and that was Miss Perrin. She was courteous, she was kind, and that stood out. I hired another young lady who always called everybody by their last name, but she said Mr. and Mrs. and Doctor this and Doctor that. So if you had a PhD, she called you Dr. So-and-so and Dr. this. And a quick story about that. This guy was traveling down south with his girlfriend, and the girlfriend introduced him to her folks. And she said, this is Dr. Thomas. And the lady said, "Oh, Dr. Thomas, my elbow been hurting me." He said, no, mother, I'm not that kind of doctor. But everybody respects people for who they are and what they are.
And do you have a story about a client to tell us?
Yes. I think your clients make you. I think clients hold your feet to the fire. I had a client in the office one time, and it was her and her husband, and he was retiring. And she had been a stay-home mom, as people say. She was working in the house. But I spent most of my time, they were there for 30 minutes, and I talked to the husband for 20 of those 30 minutes. And I looked directly at him the entire time. And she said to me when I got finished, "Mr. Liddell, you know better." And that's the last time when two people in my office, I only focus on one. I'm focused on both people equally.
Right.
Because she said, "This is our money. This ain't his money. This is our money. That was a great lesson to learn.
Okay. So now let's talk about the financial industry and reflect on that. So first off, we have, how has the financial industry changed since you first started the company?
I think that it's less regulation, but it's more expectation. Less regulation, but more expectation. And I think that the major difference that a small company can play is with less regulation, it made it a more equal playing field. We can compete with the big boys of the world and do it well. And for 25 years, we've done that. And I look forward to 25 more of competing with the big boys and doing it well.
Amazing. What trends have been the most exciting or challenging to navigate?
I think a lot of the changes that have happened with, we went from a computer-based world to AI. I think the new technologies is going to be the biggest change that we face. So in other words, I think the biggest changes are the changes that are coming. So I think those are the biggest challenges is in the changes that the future brings to us.
Okay.
And you got to be willing to be flexible enough to adjust.
And what sets our firm apart in an industry that's constantly evolving?
Service. We love servicing our clients, and they love being serviced. We call them on their birthdays and wish them happy birthday. We don't have to do that, but we do it, and we love doing it. Miss Hall gets a kick out of doing that. It makes her day to leave them a wonderful message. On behalf of ELE Wealth Management and Ms. Liddell, we just call and say happy birthday to you. Hope you have a phenomenal day. So service is the key.
Well, thank you for your insight, Mr. Liddell. We look forward to another 25 years of success.
All right, Ellis Liddell's son, Ellis N. Liddell. We look forward to you being a big part of making that success happen.
Yes.
Thank you.